It's a nice view as we went on forever. I don't know if you saw that.
Rainbow Six never ends.
No, it doesn't. And these matchups might never end. A best of 5 to set the scene with operator bands coming in. For those of you that were not following at home, Consulate, picked by Los, will be map number 1. Chalet up again next. That's W7M's pick. Bank by Los, which I know both of you have a few things to say about that map choice.
I don't know, I mean, it's a risky one, but the thing is, when you're in these best of 5s, you pretty much have to go to your opponents one of their best maps at least, because you only ban out one, then they get to pick the rest, and, well, the thing is, they took it.
4th map is going to be Bank, that's W7M's, or Cafe, that's W7M's pick. And if required, Skyscraper will be the 5th map. Since it is a best of 5, first team to prevail in 3 maps wins the whole thing. Operator bands almost completed on your screen. Is there anything that jumps out to either of you at this current moment?
There certainly is, Parker. There's something that will not be jumping into the building quickly, and that is this Amaru. We have seen Amaru be phenomenal on Consulate, one of the best maps to take advantage of her Gyro hook, not only to get in the building really quickly, to take some map control away, but also we've seen a lot of late game executes. You have the majority of your team pushing from the admin side on the top floor, for example. The Amaru comes on the CEO windows. Some beautiful multi-kills we've seen come as a result of that.
Yeah, it seemed to follow up the Solace, right? Intel is so important for both these two squads, so you would have to believe that in pretty much all of these 5 maps, one or the other will target ban the Solace. Los, they looked pretty lost when they played in second stage of Brazil just 2 months ago, but they find themselves all of a sudden looking like a phenomenal team, almost a world-class team individually. Players like Lobin, right? Stepping up, putting on a arguably record-breaking statistics and entries, for example, but also as a team, they don't even have that many clutches. They don't need it. Every single player always stepping up and always playing together. The trades are flowing, and that's how they got themselves to the grand finals.
And in my eyes, Los has been the underdog this entire tournament through. So many people have talked about the big hitters from Brazil, from W7M, from FaZe, from the big hitters from Europe and North America, but nobody gave credence for the little Los that could, that has struggled throughout stage 2 and yet fought tooth and nail for the respect that they deserve. And now Cameraman is leading this gang of very youthful players to what could be a trophy here on their map pick. Consulate, the attack has begun, and it is that of the Bulls, W7M.
I like that we're starting to use that term to describe them, because obviously the logo is a bull for those that haven't really clued into that just yet, but they also use it in their branding and I think their hashtag as well.
Go
a cooked
Bulls.
nade, and you better savor that because it's not going to be around for that much longer.
Oh.
Tossed in, damage dealt to Cameraman. This very first execute now from W7M.
It really pays, very important, of course. An opening kill, the first on the entire grand finals. Gonna set the tone. I love that W7M bring out the nuke here, start things off, hide from camera, sneak around, go for a lurk play. But it's W7M playing with a lot of discipline right now, holding angles, waiting for aggression, because when those played against FaZe yesterday, they were swinging in towards the attackers, shutting down those early entries, and always going for picks. And they've studied that, and they're ready for it.
And it will be the vertical nade play. As the guys on the desk have said already, thanks to that reveal, savor these vertical nades as they are not long for this world in Rainbow Six. We could see some of the last vertical nade kills in Rainbow Six esports history here in this grand final. And it is very much the strategy that W7M look to opt here. 3 sets of nades as they look for control down below. Herds in an initial duel. He gets a bit of damage onto Maya on the other side, but a nade to follow through could be the killing blow. Instead, it's targeting the barbed wire, and no blood has been drawn! Hold that thought for a second, JV! Finds 2, the trade comes through, but Los at a disadvantage, and that gets furthered. Nade has found his, and it's go time for W7M.
Well, Los just got absolutely overrun in the first execute, and if W7M are going to make a statement to start this off, why not go in that way? Toxic gas tossed out now as Nade just waits patiently. They've got the smoke pinned down, reduced to just dots. W7M only losing one. A single kill in the final moments of that round, but the attackers prevail to start off Consulate.
There are so many big names to talk about, whether it's Maya, whether it's Lobing, whether it's Hertz, KC, or JV92, just flying into the map time and time again, and just he's been given just a small portion, a small entry, but he makes such a phenomenal, a massive play off of that. 2 kills, but it's not just about the individual heroics of JV. The team was clearly ready. He said, guys, follow my lead. I'm about to do something crazy in a second, and you gotta be quick to follow up. Otherwise, this opportunity, it's lost forever. And it's how they found that first round for W7M.
I mean, there's so many tools at the disposal of W7M. The games where we've watched where maybe KZ or Herds has an off day, but guess what? Fellapox is always good on his rolls, and JV can absolutely dominate. I like the coordination there from W7M. You waste so much time on those Visa stairs. Get the rest of your players in line, get them into the bomb site, or at least close to it, and they can do the rest of the work. But then you've got the ability for Herds to absolutely take over a game, as we saw yesterday against G2, one of the finest performances he's ever put in. So if you're Los, what do you do to slow them down? Because any of them can pop off. Nade, after that first round, got 3 kills. And you didn't even think about saying his name all that much because we were so focused on JV92 and the rest of the team.
I actually asked JV the other day when I was sitting with the W7M guys for a brief moment. I said, who do you think is the best player on your team? And I was goading him into being like, oh yeah, it's me, JV, remember my name. No, he turns to me, dead serious, and he says, Nade. Nade is the best player on W7M. And he's also the least experienced player on this team as well. And yet, he is one of the most star upcoming fraggers, 20 years of age, and he has been so impressive since joining this roster. Big shoes to fill, losing Julio, one of the most experienced players in the game, and Lagonis as well. And, well, W7M, they have really delivered on the President's set with their performances earlier this year.
Yeah, it's all a team effort. That's always been their motto, the way to approach things. And when W7M first came to the international stage, they struggled with controlling their emotions. And as like you mentioned, when Julio came into the mix to teach them how to go about those things in the server, Julio left and picked up better players, so to speak. And they're finding results now because they got the mechanical skill, they can control their emotions, and they faced themselves in grand finals before, but they get tricked here. The kite shuffle is successful.
Yeah, Lobin completely removing those Selmas. Tossed out a Nitro Cell as well for good measure. That could have been an early kill for Los, but sometimes the utility work is arguably more important than those first initial kills, which Los is looking for right now with KZ suffering some damage. Down by yellow, JV is smoked to go out. Or a flash rather, Lobin finding himself down, finished off by KZ. You'll pay for your crimes earlier in the round. The first advantage goes to W7M in this round.
Yeah, it was very ambitious and unnecessary overpeak for Lobin. W7M, they didn't have the main way into the bomb site that they would like with breaching that garage wall, thanks to Lobin's efforts. However, if he keeps succeeding picks, W7M won't need that breach.
But that's the thing, this is what Los did yesterday against FaZe Clan, and it worked so well for them because they got those picks every single time. W7M, they are not FaZe Clan. They're holding those angles, they're very fundamental, and they don't have any gaps to abuse. So Los might struggle in the early stages of these defensive rounds.
JV92's got a read on Maya playing in this position. Maya has the intel now with the razor wire being hit upon, and Maya will decide to engage, rightfully so. Both players with the same machine in their hands, but Los are winning the duels. 30 seconds remain, and now it's Herds in the same spot where JV92 was buried. Took them in together before Nade walks down, but it's Dash and Dots to work together to give the second round to Los and tie us up.
Maya can always find an opening.
Tell you what, there's no doubt about where the crowd's allegiances lie. Most one. This team is not used to having the crowd on their side. They're not in Brazil. But W7M, they are very experienced when it comes to going into big matches with the crowd against them.
Yeah.
Very like FaZe. At Invitational this year, there was no doubt about where the crowd's favor lied. It was with G2. And the same can be said for Copenhagen when they played against Liquid.
I mean, JV92 came onto the stage and did the whole, we want to hear your boos. The crowd booed for them. I turned to somebody who's been on that same side of the crowd before, often playing the villain. Does it affect you at all in the match to know that the crowd is actively cheering for your downfall?
It affects some players, right? JV himself might not really mind the crowd being against him, but let's say maybe Nate does, for example, right? Different players deal with those emotions differently, but I will say the benefit for W7M is that they as a roster, they've always been rooted against by the crowd, so they should be used to this because of how many times it's happened before.
It's a bit disappointing that with the dominance that they've had, they have never been the favored son on this stage. I mean, I guess that just means you have to get to the SI finals in Brazil in February. Should make 4 grand finals in a row for W7M. Maybe they'd be the favorites then.
I do wonder if they find themselves up against one of the big favorite organizations in Brazil, like FaZe or Liquid, would the crowd actually be on their favor, even in Sao Paulo?
That's a great question. I mean, Liquid seems to be the most popular team in Brazil, so against them, I think given the history of Liquid, W7M might still be the villains. But hey, if they are right now just soaking it in, let them and see if they can maybe change some minds and change some hearts with good gameplay.
Ooh. What's this from Loban? He's just holding this angle. The Dokkaebi launching bomb reveals his position, and Hertz backs it up with mechanics. The first pick goes in the way of W7M for the 3rd round in a row, but Dash looks for one back, and he gets it. On the retreat now, this Valkyrie can fall back all the way towards that bomb site. KZ left floundering.
The support there, the trading, and Lowe's, they're active on the map, yeah, but they're not playing individually. The trades coming through, the 2 install operators, the Pulse and Valkyrie working together. They lose 1C4, but the other one stays upright, can still be used later in this round. The thing is though, Dokkaebi, JV can hack that phone, grant that valuable intel, shut down the Valkyrie cameras now. So I will say, the 1-phone trade favors W7M on the attack.
The little HP that KZ lost is easily fixed with an Adrenal Surge, and I mean, as he's the Finka, he controls when it comes out. Nade holding on to that diffuser. Ooh. Very patiently. 2nd floor control. Still not for W7M, but they've got a good read on it. Oh my goodness. Cameraman picks up a 2nd kill before being traded back. Nade, 6-1. An absolutely incredible performance so far through 3 rounds for a player who, as we pointed out, often flies under the radar of this squad.
Indeed he does. And he's in a great position with Felipox to continue dominating this top floor. Dots and Dash. Quite a duo. They must clutch up against 3 players from W7M, and with the bomb site being on the ground floor, they're wondering, can they retake above? There's plenty of time still for W7M.
Well, moments now. Got 1 Nitro Cell in pocket for Dots, another for Dash.
Ooh.
Down below, your hope at this point is to completely shut down Nade's plant, but first Nitro Cell goes and it completely misses. Nade now positioned with 15 seconds left. Time for that diffuser to get planted. Dots creeping up. Is there coverage? Gives his position away inside Piano. A successful plant for W7M. Nice shot from Dots. JV92 is no more. Dash a single bullet away. Nade doing everything himself at this point. 3 kills and the objective. He's got Felipox for backup. Nitro Cell goes out, damage being done to Dots, reduced to a single point of HP.
Eyes on the diffuser. Attackers
Not a lot of time left for him to hop on the diffuser. He can't really long arm it without being exposed. He's going to attempt it. Felipox does the job instead of Nade, and W7M win their 2nd round.
Who said you can't get kills on hard support? Nade is doing it all. Basically 2nd entry at this point. And again, it's those very small advantages that W7M, that's all they need. They can build upon that. No mistakes were made in that round. Yeah, they got traded back, but besides that, from that 4 versus 4 and forward, they get the side control, they hack the cameras, they juke the C4 from downstairs, and David did look the wrong way, got shot from Piano, but the post-plan 2v1 still heavily favored them.
It feels like W7M have a really good read on how Los want to play this. Los, they've got ants in their pants. They keep making unnecessary moves.
Yep.
In that round just past, it was Nade holding a very passive angle inside of admin to find the initial advantage for W7M, which is this kill right here.
Yep.
And Los, as soon as a pick goes one direction, they continue fighting back for it. And W7M are simply engaging the refrags. They're always diligent, making sure that if there is a little bit of aggression and it catches off guard once, that's fine. We'll just get it back and maintain that numbers advantage.
What's the troubling sign for Los, given that this is their map, Nick?
It is, but you had to expect that.
No, I said, what is a troubling sign?
Oh, what is a troubling sign?
See, I was very specific with my words.
I thought you were being like, that is because
what is...
troubling sign is that they're approaching this game the same way as up against FaZe,
okay,
right?
Understood.
But they're playing against a different team this time around. I'm sorry. So
Are you okay? Like, do I need to get a marriage counselor or something in here?
oh man, it's only
That's why I think we brought you on.
Oh, okay. I am the I'm the mediator. I see how it is.
No, if you're gonna approach this game like you're playing up against FaZe Clan like you did yesterday, you're not gonna find a successful result because this is an entirely different team. Their play styles, how they approach things, W7M like to counter-strat. If they see you play aggressive yesterday, they're going to approach this in a very passive manner and feel you out. And Lowe's actually need to adapt all of their game plan right now and show us they can do something differently. And I think Loping picking up the Clash might be the first sign that, hey, they too feel like something's going wrong. Let's try and play this passive backline, play off the active intel. That can't really go wrong because clearing out the Clash is very difficult.
I mean, it's a worrying sign when your best player is now reduced to a Clash, right? It's similar to, I don't know, Kino playing Monty.
No, not again, man. It's
I had to. I was talking to him backstage before the show match segment. I'm sorry,
Well,
Kino.
To answer the question that you posed earlier, Parker, what is the troubling sign on Lowe's map pick? The fact that W7M have already won 2 attacks, and this is one of the most defender-sided maps in the game. Constantly, it's the most played map in Atlanta, and it's 63% defensive favored. Lowe's can't afford to lose another round here.
Well, they're getting a good start with the pick onto KZ, and that's Cameraman leading the way. Right now, 3 players holding up at desk. They can cover that console office. They can cover long desk. They can cover yellow. Fellapok's down below in on the hunt, but all these kill holes will work in his favor and against him at the same time. Just past the halfway point right now. Lowe's have expended some of their post-plant utility to keep W7M at bay.
And the thing is, Lowe's just gotta play around Lopen. They got the Clash, but they're just wrapping the window inside.
Herds has actually repelled straight on in, and Nade as well. So multiple players from W7M in good positions. Nade left unaccounted for. There's no way this air jab works. Back on their feet swiftly are Lowe's, but they hold their ground. Nade taken out, Diffuser cold on the ground in the bomb site as JV finds something back, and from below it looks like Felipox might be able to bring it in. Maya can't stand up to the might of the Bulls. Oh, JV. My, does he want to hear you? In Atlanta, there's no doubt where the crowd's favor lies, but JV will have none of it.
Hold on a second here. You were just gifted a golden opportunity to boo him and you cheered for him. No, boo.
You can't do that.
Boo.
It's a very unusual cultural thing to boo teams that you don't like, at least to me as an Australian. But when I went to the NBA the other day, it's extremely common.
So, first event that I casted was in Brazil, in Sao Paulo.
Oh yeah, how was that?
And, Nick probably had a very different experience from than I did.
Yeah.
But the Brazilian crowd was booing the teams playing against Brazil.
Yep.
And it got to a point that Meligeni had to come on and be like, guys, be respectful. Like, don't boo the teams. But I'm like,
Let him have
boo
it.
them.
Let him have it.
That's sick. There's a reason why you're the hometown crowd. Boo the enemies. That's the whole point of this.
The thing is, while they might not like a certain team or support the underdog in this scenario, you cannot deny when a team is playing a phenomenal round of Rainbow Six Siege. And that previous round was phenomenal from W7M. It looked like they didn't really know what to do. Up against the Clash, didn't have any clear ways to kind of pick apart the bomb side, but a simple rappel on in, with aggression, with confidence, pick up those skills, and again, the 3-2-1, let's go, was all they needed. So when a team plays such an excellent round, you can't boo at them.
No, yes, you can.
No, you cannot. Not in my book.
We'll have to pick this up a bit
Don't
later.
worry. You never have to worry about them booing you again.
Oh, wait. If Bolo can keep coming back on that stage, I too can find a way.
That's true.
Don't give us hope, Nick.
I'm sorry.
Talked about it in the previous round. Very defender-sided map. W7M can now not lose the worst half for them.
Yeah.
Right? At this point, 3 rounds of 6. That's great.
Yeah. Really phenomenal for W7M so far. It feels doubtless that they've already won this first half of their opponent's map pick, which sets them up greatly. And Los, even more than ever, need to make a comeback here. They can't afford to lose a single more round. Otherwise, I think this map rather, is done. And we'll move on to Chalet, which is W7M's map pick.
Yeah, and not just the map count, but the mental game as well, because things are falling apart for Los.
Yeah, I mean, that roam from Loben, 1 in 5 for the player. Hyped up so heavily on this desk earlier before we got into the match. He's been one of the best players at this entire event, and he's ice cold at the moment.
1 in 5.
Maybe
Not
a victim of deep freeze.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the thing for me is that W7M keep getting into this map really early on. Herds has been the perfect epitome of that for his team. Always right on early. There's no denial, no entry denial, no information for Lowe's. and instead of playing cautiously, expecting that a player could be around any corner, they think that the whole map is their real estate. Now Herds has actually got himself right on inside to Piano, and he's so close to that bomb site, he knows a player is in the corner of the room, just ahead, and he needs to win this fight, but Dash gets the better of him. KZ for the trade. And Los may be able to stay alive here, but not if they continue to fall like that.
This is the hallmark of a great team. It's not whether you get the pick, but if you can trade it back right away. They've been doing this in every single matchup since the quarterfinals. Somebody on W7M dies, but it's all good because there's somebody immediately there to kill the next player in line. Nicely tossed C4 earlier, drops nade, but now Cameraman will be ended by Felipox. W7M just plowing their way through this match. They're up 4-1.
And it's not just about the trades, it's about how quickly they can change to their environment. For W7M, they get the kill. What do? They don't go rush for the plant that 4 versus 2. They say, guys, let's send 2 players down, 1 staircase each, figure out where those last 2 defenders are lurking downstairs, shut down those C4s, and then hit the side. They understand the objective play in front of them. They understand when to go for it and when to change things around. And not just on Consulate, not just on Bank. W7M, they have a very wide map pool, which of course heavily favors them in best of 3s and best of 5s.
A real display of excellence from W7M so far. They've come into this grand final with the utmost confidence. They know they're playing against Lowe's, who they have bested time and time again. If you look throughout history, W7M, 2-0 Los in Brazil, stage 1, 7 months ago. Last year, every single time these teams played, W7M took a very comfortable win. This Los roster has never beaten the Bulls.
It's a worrying sign.
I will say, this Los roster hadn't really beaten much getting to this point. Right? That's why we've been talking about how significant this run Los has been on it. Because this is a fairy tale team at the moment. You know, dropping only a single map all the way to the grand finals was something that none of us thought. They asked for our predictions on like the first day of phase 2. They said, which team is going to go out 0-3? I didn't even think, I just said Los. Well, now I got the numbers switched around. It happens. But this has been a team that has consistently beat expectations. So if there was ever a time and ever a moment for you to seize that moment that you are in, it's now. And Los can easily break that streak. Well, maybe not easily, not with what we're seeing right now on console.
Well, the other thing is that this Los roster is full of inexperienced players. KZ on this entry. Oh, he almost finds the angle, but thankfully Cameraman slips away in the nick of time. Loban looks for the re-peek. He finally breaks this display. Dying early, time and time again, he gets the first pick in this round, but Herds is swiftly in the building on this Jackal. He's got quite a bit of information, trying to figure out where these footsteps may lead. He spots out the Valkyrie. Dash just in the next hallway ahead of him.
Oh!
And once again, an opportunity goes missing for W7M.
Well, he saw that there was somebody significantly closer with those red footprints, and then also assessing there's somebody who's been here maybe a bit longer ago, try to flush out the player who'd been nearby. They opt to go for someone who might be on site. They gain intel that they didn't think they had, and now they are in hot pursuit. Look at how quickly Herds is in! He finds one, a second to follow up, smoked by Dash.
And now for W7M fighting from a numbers disadvantage, it goes from bad to worse. But JV is already deep inside as well. Los have the numbers advantage, but they cannot afford to give 1v1s away. We know how good JV and Nade can be, and they will not give up, even in a numbers deficit. Maya takes a very aggressive angle, surely not to overpeak here. He gets punished, and a bad read from Los makes this very winnable for W7M.
But why? Why go for that swing? You got the 4 versus 2. Do what Dash do right now. Sit tight, play off those yellow pings, play with the intel, and then make a play.
Now they've got more intel on the Valkyrie. Oh. Loban punishing Nade, and he gets them both. Loban is finally spawned in. The tides might be turning, but that's your final attempt at defense. Los will go to the more challenging side in a deficit.
For Loban and 3 other of his teammates, this is their first time on a grand final stage. The first time they have ever played a match with this much on the line. I can't blame them for it taking a little while for them to warm up, but Loban, there's no doubt about it, he's back.
He's back for now. But the thing is, now the sides change. You can defend, you can sit around, wait for the enemies to come to you, but this early beginning almost looked like it was planned out from Lowe's. Running around, you know, getting chased, etc. But I don't think it truly was, because a bit of a lucky timing meant that both Dash and Cameraman survived those earlier confrontations. And it came down to a quick drone work from W7M, getting KC, getting Nade inside the building, down those staircases, and then finding those picks. But that base and bomb site, so hard to break apart, and it's no wonder that both teams want to go there.
This would be the first time that an inexperienced team struggled to find their footing early, right? All the way back in the very first quarterfinal. GK versus W7M. GK looked like a shell of themselves. They didn't look like the world beaters that we'd seen throughout the entirety of the event up to that point. They desperately needed to get a round win. They got it, and then they started playing like a totally different team. If Los are following that similar trajectory, they're already beating them in terms of rounds one at this point. But if Loban can get comfortable and settle into the match, that might be enough to tighten up some of these rounds. And even though they are on the worst side, that could seriously help Los' chances.
Yeah, and I will say, the fact that Los have not called their technical timeout yet, I think the coach feels like they got it under control. They will settle into this round by round, slowly but surely. And the great thing about the best of 5 is you can lose a map. You can lose a second map in theory, because a comeback is always possible. It's going to be a long series.
We've had a number of maps go all the way in these major best of 5s. Not obviously including Copenhagen, that was a drubbing. W7M said, we want to get to the after party. And Team Liquid said, well, we can't do anything to stop it. So, and that was it.
Liquid, talk about a team that struggles in grand finals. Oh my. Hard being a Liquid fan. Pretty easy being a W7M fan these days. But Los, I think they've gained a whole lot of new fans. KZ goes out straight into the Claymore. And very much the story of the first half of Los being too aggressive on defense seems to continue here. W7M aggressive, and they early lose a player, but Hurts takes down Cameraman. Upstairs, no information, and Los are now a player in deficit.
The calling card of Rainbow Six Ranked is why are you there? And, well, a shotgun being up on the top floor is something you might not expect. But suddenly, look who it is! Loban with 2 picks to set us up to 2v2.
What?
Nade drops. Herds will need to clutch it. It's him versus Loban. You gotta be shitting me again. How does Herds do this time and time again?
Loban's good, but Hurts this tournament might just be a little bit better, at least in that 1 versus 1.
Damn.
Through the wall?
Yeah, Herds is in peak form today. He's one of the best players to come from the Brazilian region, but often outshone by the star-studded roster that he sits on. KZ was renowned to be the best player from Brazil for quite a while, and now Nade has really joined that with JV as well. I did notice something in the chat posted by
He's working Google Translate.
I'm trying to Google Translate it.
There's a lot going. Yeah,
It was I don't know how to say it. So Uma put 2. I'm 1 for you. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Any Brazilians in the crowd?
Be very careful as to what you say out loud, by the way, because you don't know.
Well, if he's saying it in the chat, I sure hope it's broadcast appropriate.
I mean, it must be related to that 1 versus 1, but look at this. I mean,
So foul.
yeah.
When Herds is on, there's almost nobody on the planet who can slow him down.
Attackers objective
Yesterday's
to locate a
rampage
bomb.
over G2 was an appetizer. He saved the main course for Los today, but Herds is being carried at the moment by Nade. The whole team is.
I mean, if you have to describe W7M what they can do to the opponent roster, is that they kind of make other teams look so much weaker than they actually are. When W7M played G2 yesterday, I mean, we're all saying G2 are clutching left and right, they're a World Championship like level team right now, and then W7M, they just run them over. They make them look bad in the server. Los, they pretty much destroy FaZe Clan yesterday. What's happening now? W7M, again, pretty much running over Los. The skill difference between this one team in W7M and the rest of the world of Siege is just so big.
Yeah, I mean, we fall into a trap where we consistently say what you just said, you know, like, oh, they're having a bad day. How many teams have bad days against W7M?
Exactly.
And how many times do we have to see this happen before we can start giving credit where credit is due? W7M makes good teams look very average. That's it. And that's because of how strong W7M are.
It's the nature of how they play. It's the nature of how they get into their team's heads. Their oppositions start quaking in their boots. Like we've said, inexperience for 4 of these 5 Lowe's players, never playing in a grand final, having very limited experience on the main stage. But they are slow and steady here on this attack. Not falling victim to the Capcan traps, but indeed, Cameraman, the first to die, a C4 tossed headlong by Felipox, will open this equation for W7M. Oh, what a shot from Dots! How do you land that? Herds is sat back down.
It's impressive. But the worst is yet to come. They're gonna clear out JV on the shield position. They lost Cameron, but they're finding kill after kill.
They lost KZ, Felipox trades Dash right back, and now JV just needs to pop up. Struggles on the spray transfer. It's Nade to clutch in a 1v2. He's been phenomenal so far. Well, stare down flashes, stare down 2 frags from Loban. 2 adrenal surges still left. And with a minute to go, hard destruction from the Hibana can make wherever you sit a little bit less safe. Nade pulled out from Loban. Safe position right now for the Mute. Dots attempting the plant. Loban will need to cover. Nade reads into this correctly, looks one way. They see him, they assess the situation. There goes a Nitro. Goes off a little bit too early. Now both will hunt, and it's Dots to get the kill. Lowe's preventing match point. That's their 3rd round and first on attack.
That was so well played by Dots on the other side. He knew he did not have to plant. He knew that the win condition was trading his teammate. He wanted to threaten a plant position, but if he dies to a long-range C4, that round is over. He fakes it. He goes, tosses a flashbang. And with Loban supporting, no more frags left after clearing inside of the little cubby position. He had to make sure he didn't give up a 1 versus 1.
Yeah.
And that is so impressive from Lowe's. You cannot let isolated ones go by in a 2v1.
Yeah, I think those scenarios that look so simple on paper, like what you should be doing, but there are so many ways to break that down. Do you try and bait out your planter, and then he dies, but you trade him? Do you go for the swing 2 versus 1? Do you just go for a safe cover? And also, you know, to add information to this, they didn't know for sure whether Nade had a C4 in pocket or not. You can assume that he does and play around it because it could be a way that you fall on the plant of the cover, but you don't know until you hear that C4 rip. And if you overstep your boundary, you're going to be too far forward and you'll be taken down with that C4. So that middle line played well by Lowe's. And JV playing on the shield earlier upstairs in the long hallway might have talked that shield position for a bit too long, hoping for multiple kills, but could only find 1 single in that round.
You know what the big lesson I've learned from that round, Nick? Is that Lowe's are not scared. They are not shaking.
They're not.
We saw in the first couple of rounds, a little bit of a bad read against W7M, but they're fired up now. They will not give away advantages. If they're in a 2v1, they're calm enough to deal with that. And now, W7M have gone with an off-bomb site. They've gone down in press, I believe, is where we're going. Oh no, it's the Archives bomb site. And as a result, Lowe's have thought, okay, let's go and pick this Montaigne. Let's try and have a direct avenue that there's nothing W7M could do to stop.
Big fan. I mean, if you bring the clash on defense... Yeah.
Oh, that's...
I mean, they got a 3rd... with a kite claw. So 2nd EMP has to go out now from Dots. 3rd summer from Loban. They spent way too much utility for a single wall. It's not a good look, but they can fix this mistake.
Well, it's not dire, but time and time again, teams run afoul of proper hard breach, and your Monty can't walk in, can't assert themselves the way that you need the operator to do so, and eventually you'll get the Montaigne in, but ultimately at what cost?
It's gonna slow them down quite a bit, and I mean, they're still kind of figuring out, okay, what do we do here?
Oh, this is cheeky. Is this gonna work? Do we reckon this is gonna work?
Should break the middle portion
on
the right side.
There we go. Cheers from the crowd.
I have never heard a crowd cheer harder for some wall to be destroyed than that.
That is the nerdiest, most Rainbow Six kind of cheer I've ever heard, and I absolutely adore it. Now Dots moves on forward. He baits out this Fenrir Dread Mine, and as a result, that is 1 charge gone from Hertz.
The vertical play on the Oryx, we gotta keep our eyes on it. If Monty gets too close to B-bombs like he is right now, if KC either runs down to use that gadget, knock him on his butt, or you're gonna stay in the vertical play and shut down Visa instead.
KZ really is the question mark on this round.
So far, though.
We have information, Deb.
Dash!
KZ losing his head. Teams trading back and forth. 2 from Dash. The Monty is still upright as well, though Dots has suffered for it. Cameraman upside down, attempting to put greater focus on this bottom floor bomb site. Has Dash spotted that defender? As he walks up with Dots, who could attempt to plant. There it goes, smoke, revealing Dash's position. Dots will be able to get away with this. There's nobody able to stop him. And suddenly Los in excellent position. A drop from JV92 slaughtered. Dots and Dash have a hell of a round. It's 2 in a row for Los.
I saw some people on Twitter yesterday, some pro players from a certain region saying, why would you ever play the FAMAS on Twitch? The DMR is way better, man. I don't know about that. You tell that to LOs. 4 kills with the F2. Made it look so easy. Shut down Casey in the vert, dropped the hatch, conquered the bomb site. Dots and Dash, the Monty and Twitch, quite literally in a 2v5 in that round. That was all they needed.
I'm amazed at how clean and simple the game plan was from Los. And yes, there were a few things that impeded their path, like the Kai juggling on the wall, like the misshapen ace breach, but didn't take too long to deal with it. 45 seconds for an execute. Dash covering exceptionally well with this very nerfed F2. And the Monty of Dots to engage a plant spot and cover himself with the pistol. It doesn't get much better than that for Los.
I figured out why that happened. It was the pentaskin on the F2.
Oh, shut up.
So I just want to point out that that skin did not come out while I was on the roster. We were G2 at that point in time, but it's still the legacy that carries, that power. You channel it. You're a rookie in the grand finals. You're inexperienced.
This is a good time for the crowd to boo.
We can boo.
I see you guys doing some
Talking about Penta, boo. We don't care.
Guy wins 2 world championships and thinks he can flex about it.
Dude thinks he's on the team.
He thinks he's all that.
All right, let's not. Yesterday I was at a fan signing session, Parker. You weren't there, but there were so many stories about the good old days of Penta and a certain final, all those things. The fans care.
Okay, let's get you back to bed, Grandpa.
All right.
More Loban chance than Los chance so far, and attempting to imbue him with power.
It's impressive how they picked up one specific player with that much love. I mean, sure, the stats back it up, but still, he is Los at this point.
I did ask cameraman, who do you think is the biggest smack talker on the team? And there was no question, it was Loban. He loves to dish it out, but Herds has shut him down very early on in the rounds.
This is another day of the office for him. He's been making these shots all weekend, so it shouldn't surprise anybody. Picking off Loban of all players too. Not much to cheer for the crowd.
And it's your finger. One set of grenades, and again this pressure point of top Visa stairs. You gotta break this stronghold. They got C4s to deal with. You got the portable shield to deal with, and this time it's a 5 versus 2 favoring the defensive side. It's gonna be even more difficult this time because previously it was Hertz dying early. This time it's Hertz getting that kill.
There go the flashes being gobbled up by the magnets, and now a nade goes in. Takes out the shield, and now JV92 will have to play all on his own. Herds walking up to assist, looking the wrong way and punished by Maya for that.
This is a lot of excellent early, or mid-round, I would say, progress from Los. They've dislodged the position of JV, who now looks to retreat. A smart move, considering he likely would have lost his life. Now W7M can fall back to the next set of power positions. And Nate is waiting, primed with the C4, for any player to look to get into a plant spot.
The only downside, if that C4 goes out, they have nowhere to shut down the plant from below or later in this round. So if Nate goes for this, it might have some consequences. Thankfully though, Philippox, 3 smoke babes still in pocket.
Final 30 seconds, C4 is good. All entry points from Los guarded at the moment as Dots and cameraman are left alive to sort this out themselves. A 1v4 favoring W7M, looking to move to match point. Dots engaging with keys, a relatively easy kill, but so much more to be done and a monumental task that will not be accomplished. Match point for W7M.
And a map point that seems to have snuck up on us. This is the benefit of W7M having such a quick and dominant first half. 4 rounds of attack on Consulate nearly always will set you up for success moving into your defense. And while it did take W7M a little time to get to that match point, they found it. And from here, the pressure is really on Los.
I'm surprised they're calling a tactical timeout now. I mean, I guess it's now or never, right? You're down 4-6 on match point.
You want them to call it when the game is over?
No, I wanted them to do it a round or two ago, but as I said earlier, I feel like it must have felt for Lowe's that things were under control until they really were not. They are here right now, because now they gotta either pull out some crazy strats or counterplay, or in this case, I think it's very losing the ball. That's nice. I think the coach has spotted some weaknesses here, mentality-wise maybe, sitting there. Also talking about, guys, even if we're to lose this first map, this is a long series, because when you haven't done a best of 5 before, you have to allocate your energy accordingly for potential 5 maps.
I pose a question to you, because you were in this match.
Okay.
When we talk about that SI final in 2019, with Empire throwing everything they could at you to win Coastline, had they lost Coastline significantly, let's say, if they'd lost it sooner.
Okay.
And instead of playing 20 plus rounds, they'd lost it in only the second or third round of overtime. The conventional wisdom seems to suggest they would have had more energy for the matches after that.
Yeah.
Same thing could apply to Lowe's here. There gets to be a point where you have to play all 5 maps.
Yeah.
It's a game of endurance. And even though it's your map and it's potentially heartbreaking, I have heard teams say, you know, we know that it's not a great map for us, even though it is our map. We just need to go next, and we need to focus on that because we've already lost this one. There's no point in putting any extra energy in. And I wonder if Los is in a similar position, and that could be why maybe they called that timeout so late.
Yeah, I mean, it's a skill. It's the same when, let's say you play domestically, you play only best of 1s for a full month. You get to a best of 3. You now need to understand how to preserve yourself for a best of 3 scenario. That losing a couple of rounds, losing a map isn't the end of the world. That mentally you have to stay in it, and it comes down to you play a round by round game of Rainbow Six Siege. Right now for Los and W7M, it should be 0-0 still in their heads, and just playing it out as it had just begun.
And I'm not too concerned for Los if they lose on Consulate, despite it being their map pick. They are a very good team on Chalet, which is what W7M picked next up. Of course, you can't think about the next map. This is far from over.
Exactly.
And Los, 2 rounds in a row to push OT on the back of a tactical timeout. Far from impossible, but they will need to start by getting this breach open.
That's
and they've
beautiful.
spotted, both of the electric claws have been spotted. And so they will swiftly EMP. I think they actually missed the second one, unfortunately. They did see it earlier.
They didn't want the electric claw in the second, they wanted the mute jammer.
I was gonna say,
They got the mute jammer.
There you
But
go.
this is the problem now. Because you only have secondary MPs and Thatcher's ban, you get a single look-through hole. You can't vault through it, you can't crouch through it, you can't walk through it. So it's a pressure point for the attackers to look into the bomb site, but they can't actually into the building. So either they're forced to do vertical destruction piano, destroy the mute jammer, find the kite claws, etc., then get Hibana and Loben sorted over with 6 pellets in pocket, or go for a backside execute and, you know, walk down a staircase and go for kills.
KZ has not had a very good map so far. He cannot outduel Loben with the Nitro Cell, but turns, eliminating Dash and looking for a follow-up. KZ dies to dots, good coordination from Los to get in the building and clear out the roaming Mira above the bomb site.
The scary part about that for Los is that that was too separated. KZ shouldn't be allowed to get even the first pick without an immediate response. It took a few seconds, and that meant that it was another 1 versus 1. That's how you lose numbers advantages.
Exactly that. It comes down to literally 1 second. If you're 1 second too slow or 1 second too fast, it can make the difference between getting a kill or being the one getting killed instead. And now it's a bit of a guessing and reading game. No intel on both sides. They're feeling out the presence here.
Hold on a second. What is Herds potentially about to pull off as Loben goes hunting for more, almost gets nade through the soft wall. Down in servers. Nade hiding for the moment. JV92 to punish Maya. Herds still unaware of this push going on. He could flank on over. Nade taken out by more than 1 player. Herds is there, the flank coming out. Cameraman to save this round, but Herds seals the map. Consulate stolen by W7M.
Comes down to attack inside, you said it, Dev. If you only win 1 or 2 attacking rounds, or sorry, defending rounds, should I say, starting on Consulate, you will fall apart on the attacking side. It's too big of a task, especially up against a team like W7M.
Well, I don't think that was the start that Los wanted, and frankly, I didn't really